Welcome to 23 Degrees Sideways. This is part 3 of our environmentalism and redlining mini-series. Now, in the last video I mentioned that one of the reasons we can't have electric cars is because people want to end private ownership of vehicles. That gets into a very heated argument quite often. Here's the deal. A lot of people want electric cars. The electric car movement is very much intertwined with the autonomous vehicle movement. We want self-driving cars and electric cars to be one and the same. Every time you get into the discussion about the future of self-driving cars, you're going to run into people. A lot of people, plurality, probably a majority of people who also want to end private ownership of vehicles. I get a lot of pushback on this. I say this, and people say, well, that's not what I'm talking about at all. Except it is. Every time. People want to be free from having to do title and registration and insurance and maintenance and having to have parking spaces. Oh, we're going to save all the parking spaces because we don't have to park. And everything else, they want to end it. It's going to all be run by a beneficent corporation that has your best interests at heart and is going to provide clean and healthy environmentally sound, self-driving, autonomous electric cars on demand anywhere you need them at any time. And anyone can afford them. So, for free. Yeah, right. Okay, so I don't smoke pot, but I imagine that this is a pipe dream. Here's the deal. If you want electric cars, you can have electric cars. If you want self-driving cars, you can have self-driving cars. But you have to follow that rule. BBFM. Bigger, better, faster, more. Getting rid of personal ownership of vehicles does not do it. Okay? There has never been a situation where restricting access to means of transportation has increased liberty, freedom, and goodness. Okay? It doesn't work that way. You can go all the way back to any place that restricted who could own a horse. Oh, wow, look at that. All the poor people couldn't go anywhere. You can look at several communist societies in the middle 20th century, and the idea of having a car, kind of came with a driver anyway, was having a car at all, you know. My uncle has a car. We could borrow it next month if we schedule it in advance. Yeah, all right, whatever. But a car often came with a driver because you were a powerful person, because well, that's one of the perks. You get a car. And that's not restricting access to personally owned and controlled means of transportation will not work. Furthermore, it is guaranteed to have severe redline issues and be adversely affecting the lower tiers of the population much more severely than the upper tiers. I'm reminded of Al Gore telling everyone that they needed to get rid of their cars while he flew around in a jet, going from talk to talk to talk. There's a scale here. What I'm talking about with redlines, though, is that it's going to force the people on the bottom to stay on the bottom and to be lower on the bottom, because you're going to take away the ability to own basic things, to have things, to improve their station or their lot in life. Just because you don't like paying a tax or going to get a driver's license, or you can't pass a driver's test, or because you're scared to go to the DMV because it's a public place. Ugh, millennials. Seriously, every one of these things I've seen. I have known millennials who literally cannot go down to a government office to collect money that is owed to them because it's a public place. Ugh, this isn't like one or two weird oddball cases. This is like a generation. You always run into this problem. And the electric car and the self-driving car, very intertwined, have to be adopted at the expense of personal vehicle ownership. And you're going to lose half or more of the US population just by making that argument. What you need to do is you need to get the conservatives on your side. You need to get the big truck guys on your side. You need to get the Harley riders on your side. You need to get the fast cruiser riders, like me with my Honda, on your side. And the way you do that is by making the electric vehicles fucking rock, make the autopilots actually work, and make the prices pretty reasonably affordable, and making them go faster. That's it. But you gotta let us buy them, okay? There's a social programming, I think, in America that treats people like rednecks as being anti-technology, which is odd because I'm in a society here that is mostly relatively right-wing, and we tend to look at people who are liberal as being very anti-technology and anti-progress because they want everyone to stop using stuff and stop doing stuff. And if you want to get a conservative on board with alternative energy, all you have to do is make it bigger, better, faster, more. Electric cars are part of that. So you have to get rid of this elimination of personally owned vehicles. I get that you want poor people to have better access to transportation, but the way to do that, honestly, is to make the transportation units, the vehicles, the little boxes you ride around in, cheaper, more accessible, safer to operate, lower maintenance, but basically to do that whole technology thing and develop better engineering. You know, I've looked at cars. I have a tendency to avoid anything made after about 1992 because the complications are extreme and they don't do anything. They don't add anything. Airbags are cool, but other than that, you're not adding anything. We're not getting better engineering. We're getting market engineering. We should be able to produce a vehicle right now that will carry you in reasonable comfort, reasonably safe, much faster, for about $8,000 to $12,000 new, and we're not, because the engineering isn't more efficient and better. That's just weird. That's not really on topic either, but it's kind of relevant. This one's really short because it's a very simple idea. You have to get rid of the elimination of privately owned vehicles, POVs, personally owned vehicles, as a cornerstone of electric and self-driving automobiles, because that is going to get you nowhere. All right? Stay sideways.